Let me tell you a story, Tommy. A story of a man called Theseus. His country was in danger, and he sent himself forward into enemy lines. He slayed the Minotaur and saved his city. You know what they did to him, Tommy? They exiled him. He died in disgrace, despised by his people. You want to be a hero, Tommy? Then die like one! Okay.
So, most of you have heard of the DreamSMP and its references to Greek mythology, the most important one being the story of Theseus. It sounds weird to say out loud that a Minecraft roleplay server is inspired by Greek mythology, but it's actually pretty similar. In this video, I will explain the similarities to the story of the DreamSMP, the Greek mythology of Theseus. But I will also give out my predictions based on the story, because I'm a huge fan of the series and I like to give out my own thoughts. Also, I want to make a disclaimer that this is all roleplay from the DreamSMP and not real life, so the names I'm naming in this video are all characters. Now let's get on to it. If you don't know the Dream Team SMP, alternatively known as the DreamSMP for short, it is a private, whitelisted survival multiplayer series played by the Dream Team and their friends. Due to more and more people being invited, the server eventually found its way to roleplay. This started out with the Disc Saga, which of course might seem over now, but it's still important due to the sentimental value it has to Dream and Tommy. After this, Wilbur loosely scripts the story of L'Manberg. Yes, I also thought it was spelled like L'Manberg, or at least L'Manberg. I was wrong. I hope you all know the story of L'Manberg against the DreamSMP, but I'll give a short summary. From as a drug van, but then it turned into a great nation. This nation consisted out of Wilbur, Tommy, Tubbo, Fundy, and Erit. He signed a Declaration of Independence, to which in response Dream, Spons, and Sapnap made the Declaration of War. After the betrayal of Erit and the detonating of the TNT inside the walls, Tommy gives up his discs, his most prized possessions, for independence of L'Manberg. Fast forward to the elections, and the party of Swag 2020 and Jschlatt 2020 joined together to get 46% of the votes, beating Pog 2020. Jschlatt then exiles Wilbur and Tommy, and they are forced to go into hiding. They form Pogtopia, and around this time too, Technoblade joins the server. After this, L'Manberg, now being called Manberg, hosts a festival, also known as the Red Festival. Here, Tubbo is executed, which makes Tubbo and Nikki join the side of Pogtopia. Quackity also has an argument with Jschlatt, and quits his job as the vice president, and Tommy lets him into Pogtopia as well. Also, Ponk is a supporter of Pogtopia, and Erit tries to get in, but he gets denied. Wilbur is insisting on Plan B, aka blowing the entire place up. And on the day of war, November 16th, again, I don't know what's up with the number 16, Wilbur then turned into the traitor and he blew up L'Manberg. After this, Technoblade joins in, claiming he was being used by Pogtopia to gain power in the government. Here, we actually first mentioned the stories of Theseus. Let me just explain what mainly happens in the story of Theseus. And here's also why I think Tommyinnit might be the DreamSMP's Theseus. Also, I don't know much about Greek mythology, so if I say anything wrong here, please correct me. You see, Theseus is to kill villains in a gruesome way to put a fitting judgment on them. You can compare this to Tommy because he fought with L'Manberg against the villains, aka the DreamSMP. Theseus is sent to slay the Minotaur in Crete as one of the 7 youths. He makes his way through the labyrinth, using a ball of string to mark his steps. He eventually slayed the Minotaur and freed Athens from Minos. You can compare this to Tommy eventually stepping in and fighting in the Pogtopia War against Jschlatt, who actually has a few features similar to Minotaurs. Jschlatt is actually half human, half ram, and Minotaurs are also half human, half crossbreed from a man in a bull. However, Theseus had a few negative traits. He had always been prideful, and he wanted to be just like his cousin Hercules, who also used to torture and slay villains. You can compare this to Tommy always being a bit prideful to himself and his possessions, but he always wanted to be just like Wilbur. He always wanted to be president. Because of this, Theseus makes some irrational decisions, like kidnapping women. I mean, now Tubbo becomes the president of L'Manberg. Everything seems fine for a little bit, until conflict erupted again. This happened because Tommy decided to rob George's house together with Rambo. He got put on trial, and after a while Dream got upset by Tommy's behavior. So what did Dream do? He put a wall around L'Manberg until Tommy got exiled, because Tommy was supposedly a risk for L'Manberg. Again, this sounds very similar to the story of Theseus. Theseus slayed the Minotaur and villains, and still got exiled from Athens due to his behavior. It was only after death that Athens forgave Theseus, but it was already too late for that. Another similarity I found is that Theseus promised his father before setting off to hoist a white sail instead of the usual black one, to let him know he was still alive. But he forgot to do that, so Theseus' father thought he had died. Because of that, Theseus' father threw himself off a cliff. This reminds me of when Tubbo came to visit Tommy, and he found Lockstead's Shire, blown up with the pillar Tommy made when he was at his lowest point, before he went into hiding off with Technoblade. Tubbo ended the stream shortly after, which makes me believe his character fainted. What I predict is that Tubbo might hold a funeral for Tommy, even though Tommy is very much alive. The moral of the story is that no matter how much Theseus has done good, it has been overshadowed by the bad thing he had done, along with his ego. This can of course be compared to Tommy. He fought alongside Lamanberg, the Bactopian War, and he didn't even blame Renbu for coming along with him when he burned down George's house. But his good is overshadowed by the love for his discs. Which I still think is sentimental value for him and Tubbo's friendship. And his irrational behavior. He constantly insults his enemies, like Dream for example, and he chooses his discs over most of his things. Yet again, I will apologize for his actions, and for Tubbo's as well. Because Tommy and Tubbo are still 16, and they are forcefully put in this situation. Give them a break! Also, in Techno's latest stream, he said that Theseus was thrown off a cliff by someone else. If that's the case, then maybe someone close to Tommy, which I suspect might be Renbu, Techno or Tubbo, and his life. So that's pretty much all the comparisons I could find. Also, if I missed any comparison, please do tell me. This was also really interesting to do, because I've actually been to Crete in the place where Theseus slayed the Minotaur, which is pretty cool. Also, because I'm a huge fan of the DreamSMP and its creators, so I wanted to make a little tribute on the stuff I noticed. Also, if you like this video, please consider subscribing or liking the video, it would help me out a lot. Thank you and goodbye.